Welcome back to MLB Tonight. A reminder, coming up tonight, Thursday Night Baseball driven by Chevrolet, the fourth in the four-game series between the Rays and Yankees. CC Sabathia hosting David Price tonight, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, live from Yankee Stadium. And now joining us with the very latest around Major League Baseball via the GamCam, Hall of Famer Peter Gammons joining us. Peter, welcome. And let's start you by talking about the Red Sox here today. They spent a lot of money via the free agent market for 2010. They have a lot of notable free agent contracts coming due for 2011. Is there enough money to keep some of their big players in the fold next season?
Well, I think it's a matter of how many of them they want to keep and where they want to go. I mean, they have to decide whether or not to pick up David Ortiz's $12.5 million option. They have to decide whether or not to offer arbitration to Jonathan Papelbon as a free agent at the end of the year, because he's going to make $13 million in arbitration, no doubt about it. Victor Martinez and Adrian Beltre are free agents. Beltre is going to be fascinating because he's got Scott Boras, and Boras has always believed that corner infielders hit much longer than players of other positions. He's only 31. I mean, if you take his statistics compared to Mike Schmidt at the age of 31, they're astoundingly similar. Now, some Red Sox people say, well, you just take Kevin Youkilis and play him at third, but there are a lot of people in the organization who feel he couldn't make that move back. So that will be a raging debate because Beltre's had a great year for them. And, you know, you look at his career stats, fact is he's played most of his career in Dodger Stadium and Safeco Field, not exactly hitter's paradises.
Peter, let's talk about the New York Mets managerial situation for next season. And after what Jerry Manuel believed to be some not so thinly veiled comments from Joe Torre that Jerry felt were campaigning for his job, and the subsequent apology, of course, by Joe, we're no closer to learning who, in fact, is in the running for this vacancy next year. We're assuming it's going to be a vacancy. Shed some light on it. Give us some names for the Mets.
Well, they're going to wait until the season's over a week from Sunday. The first order of business is find a general manager. Then the second order of business is work with the general manager to find a manager. I mean, Wally Bachman will be in it. I'm sure Bobby Valentine will be in it. But that's the general manager is the first order of business. And then they really feel that they need somebody that can, you know, bring some credibility back. Let's face it, the Mets have been bashed badly for the last year or so. Bring a lot of organization. They have a lot of really good people in that organization. I mean, there's one school of thought that says, okay, go get Pat Gillick or John Hart, who's not only bring instant credibility, bring stability, but can work with and develop with all the young guys they have in that organization. Or they may go out. I mean, there's been some talk of John Daniels from Texas. I don't think that could happen, but they could go get a younger guy. But once they get the general manager, then they'll go get the manager. But this is going to be a fairly deliberate process, I really believe.
And perhaps that new general manager biting down in the free agent market again. Speaking of players who will be free agents next year, Ted Lilly threw the ball very well in a loss yesterday for the Dodgers. Peter, is there a chance he returns to Los Angeles, or is he packing his bags again for next season?
Well, that's what the Dodgers hope. I mean, I thought with all this mess with the DodgerDivorce.com that there was no way they would re-sign Lilly, but they're trying very hard to get him done before he goes into free agency. They think he will sign. And they say, well, we've got $28 million coming off the books. Frank McCourt has told Ned Colletti and Don Mattingly that he'll free up another $10 million. So, and they may be able to go out and be able to make some additions, and they insist there's no way that they're going to trade away Ethier, Kemp, or Loney unless they get good baseball talent back. They're not going to be salary dumps with their three best young players.
Been a disappointing season for the Dodgers, Peter, as it has for the Cardinals. They win in Pittsburgh Thursday afternoon to avoid a sweep, but there's been a lot of speculation about Tony La Russa and whether or not he will return as Redbird skipper in 2011. What's the latest on that front?
Well, the feeling in St. Louis right now is that Tony probably will come back. That there were some feelings that it would never happen a month ago. The truth is, Tony hasn't made up his mind what he really wants to do. I'm not sure he really knows. I think in the end he's going to say, you know what, I'm going to come back. Albert Pujols, this might be his last year in St. Louis. He's very comfortable there in St. Louis. I think he ends up going back, but he has not made up his mind yet.
Peter, the next big thing in baseball, if we can say such a thing, is it a group of players? Is it a player? Is it something on the schedule? What is your next big thing to watch for in a game?
Well, I'll tell you what I think it's been really fun. First of all, this year has been the year when people have been fascinated by new players. And I think it's just because they want to free themselves from the steroid era. We've had a great year with the Mike Stanton and Jason Hayward and Buster Posey and so forth, and Steven Strasburg in the time he was there. That's fine. But I found it really interesting to watch how people have watched the young players that have come up. Well, Logan Morrison, for instance, for the Marlins, came up at the end of July. He's been playing every day. He's reached base in 40 straight games. I had a scout today say to me, this guy is the next Don Mattingly. That's a pretty high compliment. And there's a great story in Milwaukee with Mark Rogers, who was the 5th pick in the whole 2004 draft out of Orr's Island, Maine. Well, he's a tough guy. I mean, he hurt his shoulder, missed the entire 2007 season, missed the entire 2008 season. He's worked his way back. Now he's made 2 appearances. He's going to make a start very soon. He's throwing 95 to 98 miles an hour as kind of a tribute to the son of a lobsterman from Orr's Island, Maine. And the other guy is Jordan Walden with the Angels. We all know the Angels are pretty desperate to find some bullpen help. That's really been a problem for them. But Walden's come up, and they keep calling him the next Jonathan Broxton. He's been 98 to 101. He could end up being a key guy in that bullpen next year as the Angels kind of regroup from this year. It's been fun watching all 3. I think Rogers is going to end up in the rotation with the Brewers next year. We know they need a hard thrower. I think Walden's going to end up in the bullpen, and Morrison is clearly a huge part of what should be a very good team come 2012 in Florida when they go into that ballpark, which I guess will be named Al Leiter Stadium.
Peter, I want to give you one opportunity to debunk the myth that you're collaborating with Chris Christopherson and Barbra Streisand on Endless Love 2. What is that gold record behind you? Explain that among the tchotchkes that you've got on the GamCam. Well,
that is from Little Feat's Waiting for Columbus, which I consider to be the greatest live album ever made. And they gave it to me as a loyal friend and fan. And it kind of also reminds me, it has the line in Old Folks Boogie, which kind of defines my career, which is, you know that you're over the hill when your mind makes a promise that your body won't fill.
A brilliant debut with the GamCam. Hall of Famer Peter Gammons, thanks for the contributions as always, and we look forward to chatting with you again the next time the GamCam is fired up.
Thanks a lot.
When we come back on MLB tonight, we'll talk strikeouts. King Felix has racked up a league-leading total. When we come back, though, we'll talk about why the big strikeout doesn't always mean the win. Next.